Thanks for staying up later. We've been on the air for 3.5 years, and finally that couch we picked up at the sale at J.C. Penney's, we just had to wheel it out of the warehouse, and we're using it here for Eddie Van Halen and Sammy Hagar from, of course, Van Halen, and their new LP for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is, of course, like everything they release, at or near the top of the charts. Where'd the title come from, for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge?
Boom Boom.
Yeah, Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
He's a friend of yours?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine, and he asked what the album's going to be, and I wanted to call it the abbreviated letters of For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and he said that means For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and I said, what? And he explained it, and it really does, and it's just like if you're arrested for doing something illegally, you're arrested for unlawful carnal knowledge.
And is that where the word itself
came from? Yep.
Is Right Now the biggest single off of it?
It's a current one.
What's the message behind the video of Right Now, with all the different bits of script that the viewer has to read?
That's just information, I think. You know,
it's basically like wake up. You know, if there's something you want to do it right now. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Wrote the music and the song, and then the director, he wrote his interpretation of what we were trying to say. And I think it's just like a double message in one song.
How does it break down? Do you write almost all of Van Halen's songs, and you write virtually all the lyrics?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Alex and Michael don't get involved except
they get involved button heads with us. Oh
yeah. Everything we do is pretty much a band effort, you know. But since I'm the guitarist, I tend to write a lot of music, and so just kind of take it from there.
Eddie will play me. We kind of have an idea, you know. I'll hear the song, I'll hear the music, I'll say, well, that should be called this or that. I'll start writing the lyrics, and they start pounding out the music, and everybody kicks in quite a bit. A lot of the songs, like a song like Pleasure Dome, for those who know the album, that's like Alex's song in a way. You know? I mean,
yeah, it's like I had like 5 little bits and pieces of music, and he kind of like steered me in the direction of how to arrange it.
When it comes to categories, they're always going to, for a shorthand, put Van Halen in the heavy metal category. Is that inaccurate?
I think we're just a from the heart rock and roll band, you know. I mean, they always try to pigeonhole you, you know.
Now that there's speed metal and trash metal and all that, it's not quite so humiliating.
Yeah.
No, I got stupid there. But you know what I mean? It's like you don't mind it as much. When that was like this outrageous, unthought of music, just trash, you know, what they call trash metal now, which I think is great, but I'm saying, but when heavy metal was considered like the unmusic thing,
right,
it was an insult, because this band is very musical. It's probably one of the most musical rock bands around, I think, you know.
It's the most musical band I've ever been in.
Same here.
Isn't it the only band you've ever been in?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
When people talk heavy metal, to a lot of people, it means just what you said, Sammy, unmusic.
Yeah.
It means stuff where the lyrics are impossible to distinguish, and even if you could, it wouldn't matter. And it's just about headbanging music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is that too?
Well, it's funny though. It's like Led Zeppelin. You know, they call them heavy metal. Their music was acoustic.
Yeah. But they're a good example of what we're saying about this band. You know, they were really musical. I mean, these guys were incredible musicians, accomplished musicians. That's like this band. These guys can play, you know. And so the title is just something. I don't know. The music is loud and intense, and you can bang to it. If you want to bang to it, you can bang to it.
How would you guys define Van Halen's music?
Down and dirty, for real, from the heart, rock and roll.
Yeah, that's great, Ed.
Yeah, well,
yes, sir. I agree, 100%.
I mean, a lot of people think that we're very calculated, you know, but we're really not. We're the kings of wing it, you know. Everything we do, we wing.
We go with no idea.
Everything from doing a recording, a record, writing a song, to our stage show, which really isn't a show. We just get out there and blow.
Yeah, we just put the songs together, and then the show kind of happens from that, you know.
Are you guys a party band? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we're fun. I would say that. I mean,
you'll definitely walk out with a smile on your face, but I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, there's more depth.
You know, I mean, we work hard on the music and, you know, the songs.
See, to me, your songs are relatively distinct. Like I said earlier, they lump a lot of bands in with heavy metal, and there's a heavy metal aspect. But there are some heavy metal bands where every song sounds virtually the same.
It's kind of nondescript.
It's all, you know, the amplification aspect and the energy aspect and whatever the attitude is that people, for whatever reason, identify with. But here, I mean, you can make a list of several songs, and the differences between them are apparent to your fans.
I like to consider ourselves, you know, slightly unique. I think even if you play one of our records from beginning to end, there's a pretty diverse, you know, group of tunes on the record itself.
Yeah, especially on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I mean, it's real diversified. I mean, they sound, you record them in the same place by the same people are playing, so there's a sound element that is pretty consistent, but the arrangements of the tunes and the tempos and the, I think this band's real versatile. I mean, I played with a lot of people, and when I came down and joined this band, I heard these guys playing 7 years ago. I freaked out. I mean, I knew the band, obviously, on record and that, but when we sat in a room together and inspired each other and felt this chemistry between the four of us that we have, it was, like, unbelievable. I said, I couldn't believe that these guys could play like this. It was the most powerful thing. You know, this is a band that fill up 20,000 seats. We can fill up the stadium, you know, in a room about as big as this stage here. It's nothing to do with volume. It's to do with energy level that happens. It was, like, kicking. And I was real impressed, and still am.
People who realize what your career has been about, they know that when people talk about the great rock guitarists, they're talking about Jimmy Page, and they talk about Hendrix, and they talk, of course, about Eric Clapton, and Eddie Van Halen's name is somewhere on that list. But when people hear...
I'd say one thing, I'm the youngest guy out of that bunch. No.
When did you first hit upon your guitar playing technique, the tap technique, instead of using...
Hit upon it. When did you hit upon that fretboard? There you go.
Yeah, it was probably around 74, 75. And I used to, like, when we used to play at local clubs, my brother told me, turn around, don't let them see how you're doing it. You know, until I, you know how.
Yeah. Did everybody else do pick and strum, and then you...
Yeah. And, see, I never took lessons or nothing, so I kind of wrote my own book, you know. I just kind of say, hey, that's kind of fun, you know. And, yeah, I used to turn around, you know, when I did my guitar solo, because there were other cats out there that were already signed, you know, had record deals, and they were trying to figure out how I was doing it, you know. So Al said, wait till we get a record out, and they'll know you did it, you know.
So now people must come up to you, younger, seems strange to say, but younger musicians come up to you and say how much you influenced them, right?
Which is nice, you know, kind of left a mark, you know.
I know you guys have heard about this for the past few years, and I don't want to dwell on it, but it's not often that you're interviewed in this kind of setting on a network television show.
Yeah, it's almost the first, I think.
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
When you came in after David Lee Roth bolted, did the fans expect something from you that made it difficult, or did they allow you to be Sammy Hagar?
Well, they didn't have a choice. That's all I could be. It was accepted. When I joined the band, it's like, I think the amount of my fans that came into Van Halen at that stage from my solo career were outweighed the number of fans that didn't like the idea of Dave leaving, because I mean everything that first 51-50 tour, that album at that time was the fastest selling record in history.
Hey, proof's in the pudding,
for
so
the
to
first
speak,
2 weeks.
you know?
They hadn't even heard it, and so everyone was curious. So there was a curiosity factor. We put the shows on sale, and they sold out instantly. There was never any doubt in our mind, because we were making the music. We knew it was great, but whether or not it was going to sell, who knows? But there was never any doubt to us that it was going to be great. And I didn't ever feel any rejection. It was so positive. Is all we got were thousands of banners throughout the tour saying positive statements, you know. And I'm not trying to say negative things about Dave, but they were really either very positive for calling the band Van Hagar, blah, 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 or really negative towards him. So there was never, ever any negativity, except for one show we did. There were 2 guys in the front row that had David Lee Roth T-shirts on. Remember those poor guys? Remember those poor guys? There was one show, and they did, and they came out with Eat 'Em and Smile. Remember those 2 guys? And I said, hey, find out who these guys are. I know they work for Dave, you know. So it was just funny. We never had any flack from anyone except the press. The fans have been there from the beginning. We've had 3 #1 albums in a row. Every show we've ever done practically has been sold out, and it's like there's been no negativity, and it's
What was the press's take on it? I mean, he wanted to go. He wanted to do solo stuff.
Well, they hated the band with him,
and they got the
and then they hate the band without him. And they've always hated
the
me.
band, and they certainly can't blame his absence on making it worse.
Us no matter what, you know.
Did his persona get too big for the rest of the people in the band? I mean, he was pretty up front and center.
Yeah, basically what happened is he just, I guess he thought he was the guy, and after, you know, one of our biggest albums, he decided to go his own way, and we went ours, and thank God for Sammy. Best thing that's ever happened to us.
Peace and love, brother.
No, I'm serious.
Since around 1978, when the debut album, the Van Halen album, came out with Eruption and other tunes on it, you guys have been a major presence in rock and roll. How has life on the road changed for you guys from the 70s, early 80s to now?
It's pretty much the same, if I remember right.
Yeah. Well, ain't nothing changing.
Well, if you got to think to remember it, I guess it is the same, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you know, basically, I still feel like I'm 18 years old and having a good time, you know. Believe it or not, we're going out tomorrow again for a couple of months, and I miss it. You know, I enjoy it out there. There's nothing better than the lights going down and 20,000 screaming fans going crazy for you, you know.
I'm not saying this in a leering way, but everybody knows pretty much what the lifestyle was like on the road in the 60s, 70s, early 80s for a successful rock band. In an era of AIDS, or in the case of changed personal circumstances, marriage or whatever, how drastically does the stuff on the periphery of the show, how drastically has that changed?
You might want to do an interview with our crew. No.
Yeah, you just let the crew have it. No. No, seriously, you got to take precautions. You know, suit up. Simple as that. Or just don't do it. You know, you got to be careful. Everyone's, I think, is a little more careful nowadays, and including the people, not just the bands. I mean, you know, the fans, I think, are a little more careful. It's not quite as liberal as it was.
What's the wildest circumstance, the wildest scene you ever saw?
Well, one of the craziest nights I ever had was when our first album in '78 went gold or platinum, and we were in Madison, Wisconsin, and we were opening for a band called Journey, and we destroyed the whole 7th floor of the Sheraton Inn.
Now, how much of that was a case within the rock world of kind of keeping up with the Joneses?
Well, that's what we were doing. We were going, all right, well, now we can do whatever we want, you know? We threw TVs out into the snow, out of the 7th floor. We did all the stuff because we figured, hey, that's what you do.
Was there ever anybody to say, hey, don't do this?
Oh, yeah, the cops came.
Your accountant, the hotel management.
But I would guess, though, that pretty much they indulge that behavior if you're selling out shows and you're making records that go platinum, right? They're not going to come down on you too hard.
They pretty much let you do what you want as long as you don't hurt anybody. You know?
Yeah, as long as you pay for it. You can do anything you want. That's a strange phenomenon in this business, is that what success brings you, and fame and fortune and all that. You can really, in the world out there, when you're out on tour in rock, you can do anything you want. I mean, I swear, you can get away with it. I mean, you can't kill someone, but I mean, you can have anything you want. You can do anything you want. You want, you know, the helicopter to come and land on top of the roof, or somebody will put it together.
It's kind of like being a politician. No,
it's kind of like having so much freedom. It's like, okay, let's see how far you're going to push this. You know, and that's part of the burnout factor too.
How scary is that? Is it scary?
Sure, it's scary because when you find yourself doing it, because, you know, I always try to keep a level head, you know, and then all of a sudden I say, fine, you know, I start looking at my bills and wow, you mean, gee, I chartered that jet, I did this, I did that. You know, you just start doing stupid things that you don't really have to do. And sometimes there are things like that, you get mad one night and say, okay, let's bust the TV up or something, you know. You can get away with it. You know, people protect you. You got all this little world around you and everything's, it's all, and I think that's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous for some people.
What responsibility does a rock and roll band have to its fans, its listeners, or is it just entertainment and that's the end of it?
Honesty.
Yeah.
I think we have a responsibility to make them good records and put on a good show. I feel responsible, completely. I mean, not to inspire their, I mean, not to change their lives or, or like, you know, do anything farther than that. But, you know, you buy the record, I want it to be great. If you're going to come see the show, I want it to be great. And the whole band feels that way. I mean,
oh, yeah.
This band is real conscientious.
What if somebody says, you know, you've been around for a while, you're married, you have at least one child, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it, one kid?
Yeah.
Okay. And
That he knows of.
You have
Oh, yeah. How many you got? No.
and you have friends who have children, and they say, you know, wait a minute, still love the music, but I'm not so sure if I'd want one of my kids, one of my daughters, when she's 14, 15 years old, to be one of those screaming kids at the stage door. Is there some validity in that?
What do you think, Ed?
I don't know.
Yeah, man, you better answer this one, Ed.
Well, thank God I got a little boy, not a little girl.
I wouldn't want my daughter backstage or nothing, but
Yeah.
out in the audience, that's okay, personally.
If she hangs out with the band, it's cool. Just don't go on a crew bus.
Yeah, stay off the crew bus.
Do you think the images, by asking this question doesn't mean it's my opinion, but you know those questions are out there, the images of women in rock and roll, a lot of people view as, you know, they're objects.
No, man, it's like not in this band. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough subject. I think of women as just being the opposite sex, being just a balance to man, you know, yin and yang thing. I don't have any.
You know what I mean? If someone watches a video like Pound Cake and they take a look at that image of, that rock image of women, and the thing begins and ends with a cute little girl, and you kind of say, is this what the projection is for this little girl? She's going to grow up into this environment.
Probably.
That could trouble some people.
I was real down on having that image at all in video, especially in that song Pound Cake, because Pound Cake has a double meaning to it. There's a real sexual, tongue-in-cheek side to it, but there's also an image about what I think is a beautiful woman, down-home type situation, which is called Pound Cake, plain and simple, you know, instead of the plastic surgery and the fake, you know, and all this stuff. You know, to me that is turn off, goodbye, no thank you. So I didn't want women in Pound Cake for that reason. But then, you know, you get MT, well, you know, it works and all this stuff. So to me, that's just entertainment. That's like seeing Sylvester Stallone go and blow away 300 guys. Okay, anyone that takes that serious is crazy. It's entertainment. You want to go see that stuff in the movies, you go see it. It's great entertainment. That's like Pound Cake. That's what the video is.
What are little girls made of? With sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what little girls are made of.
So some people like to look at women like that, and women that like to dress like that and do those videos and make money for doing it, hey, they're happy, they got a gig. You know, it's no different. Look what we do on stage. You know, it's kind of the same thing. You know, we could be crying, saying, hey, you know, we're being made, you know, sex objects up there, you know. But, you know.
And against your will, taking kicking and screaming up there. About a year or so ago, during the Persian Gulf War, there was some news coverage about the fact that a lot of these guys, before they went out there to risk their lives, were listening to Van Halen.
What I heard is they were listening to us on the way to battle, and on the way out they listened to country music. So they got all pumped up listening to us, and kind of relaxed a bit on the way out.
I mean, I think it was cool just because somebody, can you imagine, I mean, the intensity of going into jet fighter battle like that, and they're listening to you, that means that whatever you're doing, the energy, the feeling, the heart transcends to any level. Because on that level, man, if you aren't focused and so serious, I was proud of that, not of the war aspect. We all were real proud of the fact that our music was transcending on that level, on a life and death
matter. We
matter.
could give them a piece of home to take with them, so to speak. You know, it's really cool.
This is Van Halen's latest CD for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. They won a Grammy for it, an American Music Award for Favorite Heavy Metal Band, part of a continuing string of success for the 4 members, 2 of whom were with us tonight, Sammy Hagar and Eddie Van Halen. Thanks a lot. That was relatively painless, right?
Yeah.
It was great.
Thank you, Bob.
Just say see you later and we're out of here.
First time for us, Bob. We're going to get good at this.